Nobody wins when the family feels.
Said you want someone.
Say you want someone.
I'm tripping when I'm all alone in my jail cell. I tend to get in my feelings. And
yeah, y'all ass, man. Young Juvie, get it right. Yeah.
That's Christopher Thomas, known as YNW Juvie. The man accused of murdering him, YNW Melly, is on trial accused of killing another man too. Juvie's dad is here with his story. His group, Chris Thomas, who went by YNW Juvie, and Anthony Williams, who was known as YNW Sack Chaser. The men were shot to death in an SUV after leaving a late-night recording session on October 26, 2018, with Melly and another group member, Cortland Henry, who went by YNW Bortland. Bortland was driving the SUV. Later that morning, Bortland showed up at the hospital. Juvie and Sack Chaser were dead in the car. Melly was not with them. Chris, first of all, I know this has been a difficult almost 5 years now. How are you doing right now with this trial finally starting?
It's kind of overwhelming at times, but doing the best I can at the moment.
A lot of people may not know a lot about your son. What do you want people to know about him? We know he was, an aspiring rapper. He was part of this YNW group.
Chris was a good kid. He's the second of my oldest boys with the situation.
Melly is saying that he is innocent. His defense attorneys are saying the state can't prove its case. But it's my understanding you believed from the very beginning that Melly was responsible for your son's death and the death of Anthony.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son's death on October 26th when I first heard the story, because his explanation, when I finally talked to him and Cortland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits. They never came to town, never came to my son's funeral, never came to Sack funeral. And these are your best friends. He passed straight through the county of Indian River, went to Brevard and did a music video, but he couldn't even stop and pay his condolences to his best friend's mom. And for me to hear him call them boys his best friend is an insult. That is an insult.
Was there any sign of bad blood before your son's life was taken and before Anthony was killed? Or was there any tension there that you knew of?
Not with Juvie, not with Chris, but you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend, and 2 days later, I think that's when the incident happened.
Chris, I know that something that has to be really hard about this is the fact that there are relatives here, relatives of Cortland Henry, who are also relatives of the victims.
Yes. Chris and Cortland share a sister, and she's my daughter. Her and Chris had the same dad, which is me, and her and Cortland share the same mom. And she took the side of Melly. She still to this day screams Free Melly all on her Facebook, Instagram. She'll go live with the Free Melly shirts, and they just got her brainwashed with the money. They just showering her with gifts and Cortland and got my daughter just brainwashed to the fact that she wishing the killer of her brother was free. I just don't understand that. That's a heartbreaking feeling, man. For me to see that daily, her saying that, that's just heartbreaking.
Do you talk to your daughter about this?
We haven't talked. She was living with me up until the time shortly after the funerals, and then we went our separate ways. I haven't talked to her in over 2 years.
So it sounds like you've lost 2 children.
Yes, ma'am.
My bad for the long intro, family. But think about it. I wanted the best insert for a case that happened in 2018 that's just now starting trial 5 years later in 2023. Now, before we continue, first and foremost, we want to shout out the Law and Crime for allowing us, the public, to be able to get in these high-profile court cases. Also, if you guys want to check the entirety of the dad interview, check out Law and Crime Sidebar. I'll make sure I leave the link in the description. Now today, in this video, we're going to Florida, family. And you know, sometimes we go to court. And today, I need you guys to be a jury. Now, thus far, we got 2 days worth of trial that we're going to put in 1 hour and 30 minutes. You're talking about 8 hours a day that I managed to get all the key points from both days. Now, in today's video, we got a high-profile rapper that's based out of Florida. In 2018, he was alleged responsible for the demise of his 2 best friends while in the car leaving the studio, as you heard in the intro. And the crazy thing is, if he's held responsible and convicted, he's facing the death penalty. So before we go over this one, remember, family, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we're gonna jump right to it. This Florida rapper go by the name of Melly. He have over 1 billion views on YouTube, with more than half of that coming from 2 songs alone. Some say Melly breakout hit to make himself a household name was a track called M1 on My Mind, which was released 4 years ago that have over 566 million views and counting.
When I'm all alone in my jail cell, I tend to get in my feelings.
Another song he had was a track that was featuring Kanye West in a track titled Mixed Personality. It was released 4 years ago that had more than 164 million views and counting.
Say you want someone. Say you want someone.
In 2019, police have charged the Florida rapper Melly with the demise of 2 of his close friends who are rising rap stars as well, and trying to make it appear that he had a drive-by shooting, according to authorities. At the time, police arrested then 19-year-old Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, on first-degree M1 charges on the October 2018 demise of 19-year-old Christopher Thomas Jr. and 21-year-old Anthony Williams. Now, alongside Melly, his friend, who was also a rapper, 20 years old at the time, Cortland Henry, was arrested. He was arrested in Houston and extradited to Florida in connection with the demise of the 2 friends. Now, a day before he was arrested, Melly went to his Instagram and posted a picture alongside this caption. A couple months ago, I lost my 2 brothers by violence, and now the system want to find justice. Melly been arrested and locked up ever since. So now we got the backstory out the way. Fast forward to 5 years later, in June of 2023, the trial will start. Now the first clip, it was about 3 hours. I got it down to 15 minutes. You guys about to hear from the state on why they allege Melly is held responsible for the demise of his 2 best friends.
On October 26th of 2018, this defendant shot and killed 2 of his friends. He killed Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to set out the story and how this unfolded and lay out what I expect the evidence will show during the course of this trial. First thing you are going to hear is that at 4:35 a.m. on October 26th of 2018, Cortland Henry, the co-defendant, shows up at Memorial Miramar Hospital. In his car, he has 2 dead bodies. In the front passenger seat is Anthony Williams. In the rear passenger seat is Christopher Thomas. They are dead, they are riddled with bullets, and the car is full of blood. Christopher Thomas is sitting in the rear. There is multiple defects to his body. Anthony Williams, who is sitting in the front, has 2 major injuries. Officer Jessica Amangor is working a detail at the hospital. Cortland Henry runs in, starts telling a story about a drive-by. Quote unquote, drive-by. Cortland Henry, and you're going to learn a lot about Miramar geography during the course of this trial, tells a story that he and his buddies, just the 2 that are in the car, were at a music studio here in downtown Fort Lauderdale at 805 Northeast 4th Avenue. He's going to tell law enforcement, and you're going to hear this statement, you're going to hear the actual audio of him telling law enforcement, we were at the recording studio, we drove home, because they lived out in West Miramar. You're going to hear Cortland say that they come across in the path of travel, that they're getting off the highway on I-75 southbound to go west on Miramar Parkway. And you're going to hear that on Miramar Parkway, sometime between 160th, which is also commonly referred to as Dykes Road, and 172nd, Cortland Henry says they were shot at. that he ducked down, and you'll see him doing that in the video, and that he didn't see any car, he didn't see any people, he has no information, and that he quickly went to the nearest hospital. So you're going to learn that when you go on Miramar Parkway and you take that right at 172, Memorial Miramar is just about 1 mile north. So the distance between most major intersections in Broward County is 1 mile. So you're going to learn that from 160th to 172nd, 1 mile. From 172nd to the next major intersection on Miramar Parkway, 184th, 1 mile. So you're going to hear and find that Mr. Henry's statement that the car is traveling westbound on Memorial Parkway, then goes north on 172nd and shows up at the hospital for the drive-by is completely and utterly false. How can I tell you that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, the detectives from Miramar at this point shut down the entire length of Miramar Parkway from 160th to 172nd. And they sit and they walk side by side for an hour, that mile-long stretch, looking for evidence of this drive-by. Because evidence is the remnants a crime leaves behind. And in this case, the lack of evidence is very important. There is a lack of any evidence whatsoever to support that a drive-by happened on Miramar Parkway. What would they look for? Shell casings, glass fragments, projectiles, tire marks. You're going to hear that there is none of that found whatsoever. So then they said, well, maybe we have the time frame wrong, maybe we have the location wrong. So they walk an additional mile from 172 to 184th. Still nothing. No broken glass, no projectiles, no fire casings. Detectives know they have a Jeep that they are looking at the Memorial Miramar Hospital that has 16 easily identifiable bullet defects. That has a broken out rear view window and 2 broken side windows on the passenger side. Things aren't adding up. So detectives work backwards. They are then able to determine that 805 Northeast 4th address, that it's a recording studio, and that the recording studio is equipped with cameras. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see footage from both inside and outside of that recording studio. You're going to learn that on the morning of the 26th at approximately 1 p.m., detectives went out to the recording studio to try and see if somebody had followed the victims, to find out how they knew where they were going to be to set up this drive-by. In the video, that is the first time detectives learned that there was actually 4 people in that gray Jeep, and that the defendant, Jamel Demons, is in the rear driver's side seat. So let me set the scene for you at the recording studio, because there's actually 8 young men there. You're going to hear they arrived at the recording studio, not much was getting done. They were tired. They left at 3:19, and they got into 2 vehicles. So first vehicle is a red Mitsubishi SUV. In that red Mitsubishi SUV, 4 individuals get into it. Travion Glass, Dontavius Withers, Jacoby Mills, and Adrian Davis. They are in the red Mitsubishi. In the gray Jeep, you have the driver, Cortland Henry, rear driver's side passenger, Jamel Demons, Anthony Williams in the front seat, and Cortland Henry again, the driver, Christopher Thomas in the rear. What you will find and what you will hear, ladies and gentlemen, is that this gray Jeep leaves the recording studio goes over to I-95, takes I-95 south to 595, 595 across to I-75 south, I-75 south to Miramar Parkway. You're going to see traffic cameras from the Department of Transportation that show the cars going across 595, one after the other. In those videos, you're not going to see them stop. And it's just a small portion of which is covered by cameras on that. But then what you're going to see is the cell phone evidence. The digital leash. The item that is carried around in everyone's pocket, in everyone's car, you use on a daily basis. Because you're going to see, as Jamel Demons leaves that recording studio, he's got his phone in his hand, and he's playing on his phone. You're going to see on that phone information that Anthony Williams had his phone with him. And the interesting fact that's important to keep in mind is Anthony Williams, the deceased in the front passenger seat, and Jamel Demons, who is the shooter, in the rear driver's side passenger seat, have the exact same make and model of cell phone. Not only do they have the same make and model of cell phone, they are on the exact same cell phone plan. They're using the same service, the same cell towers, everything like that. So you can compare the information from those two cell phones and see how they track together. Christopher Thomas, who's the deceased in the rear passenger seat, he had an iPhone as well, and he was on the Sprint service at the time. In the other car, that red Mitsubishi, Dontavius Withers also had a Sprint service cell phone. So ladies and gentlemen, you have individuals in two cars and all of the cell phone tracks together, going across 595, going until they get to Miramar Parkway and 184th. At 184th, the red Mitsubishi goes south, and you will then see it at 3:50 a.m. going through the guard gate at Sunset Lakes. That was the gated community in which the individuals were all living at the time of this homicide in October of 2018. On the Sunset Lakes guard video, the red Mitsubishi goes through, the gray Jeep doesn't. The gray Jeep instead goes north and then proceeds to go to the actual scene of the homicides. The gray Jeep goes north on 184th up to Pines Boulevard. From Pines Boulevard, it travels west all the way to the edge of the Everglades, where it is desolate, where it is dark, where there are no witnesses. The gray Jeep goes down south on US 27 and turns left on Pembroke Road. You're going to learn that Pembroke Road does not connect through. That right there, Pembroke Road dead ends at a trash facility. That at that recycling facility, you're not going to see people. You're not going to see activity. There's no street lights. And at 4:02 a.m., Jamel Demons exits that vehicle and stages that drive-by. Because, ladies and gentlemen, remember, at this time, Miramar is going and working backwards. They're looking for communication to figure out how and why and how the location of this Jeep was known, why they would be targeted. At that point, there is no communication. You're not going to see any sort of phone calls, any sort of text messages going out, setting up any sort of meeting at the edge of the Everglades at 4 in the morning. What you are going to find is that after the surveillance footage is brought up, some of these other individuals say, oh no, we stopped. We stopped the car and Mr. Demons on the side of the highway got out of the gray Jeep and got into the red Mitsubishi. But ladies and gentlemen, it's important to know and look at the details, because the details don't match up. One person says, oh, it's at this location. One person says it's over here on the side of the road. Look at what the physical evidence shows, and that's what I would suggest to you is the most reliable things. So on the physical evidence, the Jeep is towed to the Miramar substation, and a search warrant is executed on it. And at that point, officers, crime scene technicians, and investigators start going through the contents of the Jeep. And all of the ballistic from the drive-by are all coming from the passenger side in towards the driver's side. And then from the rear of the vehicle, forward towards the front. The medical examiner's office is also conducting an investigation. You're going to hear testimony about the autopsies that were conducted on Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas. And this is when the suspicion, the investigation takes a turn. Because at that point, the fatal wounds for Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams are coming from inside the vehicle, from the rear driver's side passenger going out towards the passenger side. The other interesting thing the medical examiner's office is going to tell you is that when the drive-by was staged at 4:02 a.m., the victims were already dead. The medical examiner will be able to testify and tell you that the fatal shots to Anthony Williams, to his head, that enters in the back of his head and exits at the top, blowing out the front passenger window, was fatal. And that the additional wounds that are consistent with the trajectories going through the vehicle, he's already dead. They are post-mortem inflicted gunshot wounds. The same for Christopher Thomas. You will hear from the medical examiners, Dr. McDougall and Dr. Souter, who conducted the autopsies, that Christopher Thomas was shot in his left cheek. That was the fatal shot for him. You're also going to hear about stippling. Stippling is unburnt gunpowder that's ejected from the front of a firearm when a bullet is fired. The best way to describe that and make it easy to understand, you have a handful of sand, soot, and a golf ball. You throw it, the golf ball is going to go the furthest because it has the most weight, the most mass. The sand weighs a little bit more than the soot, so it's going to go a little bit further, but not as far as the golf ball. The ash, the soot, which has almost no weight, no mass, therefore it can't have any energy put into it, falls very quickly. So that is the same principle that comes to gunshot residue and the powder tattooing that you're going to hear about, the stippling. The bullet travels the furthest. The gunshot residue, the powder tattooing, the stippling, creates a pattern. And from that pattern, the medical examiner's office can give an approximate distance.
That was pretty much the argument on day one. Now, you're about to hear from the defense attorney.
Prosecutors are given great power, endless resources to perform their mission of pursuing justice. But that's not what occurred here. What they will bring you is a case that is riddled with reasonable doubt, that is founded on an incompetent and incomplete investigation, and the exercise of poor judgment at every turn. The state cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt the allegations that they have made. And there is a reason for that. You recall Ms. Bradley, some of you may recall, during jury selection, going to great lengths to let you know that she does not have to prove motive. And she's right about that. The law doesn't require her to prove motive. But you know what does require motive? a young man to wake up one day and decide that he's going to kill two of his best friends. Best friends that he grew up with, best friends that he hangs out with, best friends who he lives with, best friends whose careers he was trying to launch alongside his own. They have no reason for why he would do this, because there is no reason. And if there's no reason, it doesn't make sense. And if after 4 years of investigation, the state comes and says, hey, he killed two of his friends, his best friends, and you're wondering why, and their answer is, oh, I don't know. That's the first indication that they're just guessing and don't know what they're talking about. And that, ladies and gentlemen, by itself is reasonable doubt. Why he would commit such a heinous crime against his own two best friends for no reason. What happened here is that the lead detective, Detective Moretti, saw a video of Mr. Demons getting into a car 40 plus minutes before bodies were found in that car. And then he discovered that Mr. Demons was a rising star. And from that point on, he decided he's the only person that could have committed this crime. Because if you're involved in prosecuting a star, you become a star. This was his big break. And he had tunnel vision, and he zeroed in on this person, this young man, as the only possible perpetrator of that crime, to the exclusion of all other leads and evidence. There's a difference between cases that are investigated and cases that are fabricated. When a case is investigated, the state uses all its resources, its investigators, its experts, and all its energy to identify leads and run them to ground. When a case is fabricated, first a target is chosen, and then the state uses all its resources, its investigators, its experts, and its energy to run that target into the ground. That's what occurred here, and there's a reason why I say that. There are a number of leads that you will discover that were identified by the officers but were either completely ignored or given short shrift. I'm going to let you know, run through a few of them by way of example. Start with the most obvious one. Cortland Henry. Now, Ms. Bradley started her opening statement by describing some of the lies that he told, as though to impute them to Mr. Demons. Those were not Mr. Demons' lies, those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar, and you don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two dead bodies, a car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, gunpowder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket. Not Cortland Henry. There were 3 phones in that car. There were 3 people in that car. So they take him at his word, despite suspicious circumstances, and they let him go on his way. They soon discover that he's lying about the location of this incident, and they went back to him, and they label him a victim. And they said, we know you're scared. Tell us what happened. He lies to them again. They let him go. And they know where he went. They know the location that he went. They know the house that he went to right after. And any investigator worth his salt would have thought to maybe execute a search warrant on that location. To see if you find any bloody clothes, any DNA, any blood, a weapon maybe. You guys are probably familiar with the series First 48. That's founded on the proposition that if you botch an investigation within the first 48 hours, you've pretty much botched it for good. It's 48 months plus later. They still haven't served a search warrant on that location. Why? Moretti already had his man. What's the point of an investigation? To find out what happened. He's using all his resources to try and prove what he has already concluded did happen. So, after Cortland Henry, lead number 2, a gentleman named Montrell Roll, and his sister, Nia Hewitt. Who are they? Well, another police department came into possession of jail calls between those two that occurred within 3 days after the murders, and discussed what they describe as intimate details of the murders. Intimate details means details that are not in the public domain. So 3 days after, these two people are discussing the details of a murder. They go out and interview Miss Hewitt. They don't interview Mr. Roll. And they ask her, well, how did you know all these intimate details? Oh, I heard it, something to the effect of I had word on the street. Doesn't say when she heard it. Doesn't say who she heard it from. Case closed. They move on. That's lead number 2. That was ignored. Then there's Robert Coburn. Who is he? He is a gentleman that owns a social media account by the name of Backwards. This social media account, almost immediately, within days after these murders, posts this message: LOL, we killed 2 of your niggas. Oh, really? Took him 7 months to go and talk to Mr. Coburn, the owner of this account, that posts what amounts to an unequivocal confession to involvement in that murder, in those murders. 7 months. Why? Moretti already had his guy. And when they go and talk to Mr. Coburn, what does he say? He said, oh, I created that account and I sold it for $20 to somebody else. Who'd you sell it to? Oh, I can't remember. Were you at the murder scene? No. Did you do it? No. Case closed. That's it. No more investigation. It would occur to a reasonable person, let alone a seasoned investigator acting in good faith. Why would somebody buy an Instagram account when you can create one for free on your own? If not to hide your identity. And if somebody goes to the trouble of buying an Instagram account to hide their identity and then confesses to a murder that you're investigating, maybe you ought to go and figure out who that person is and talk to them. And maybe there is no such person. Maybe it was not sold. Why would somebody create an Instagram account and sell it for $20? And if he's in the business of doing that, that's of interest. And how would anybody know to go to him to buy an Instagram account? These are all unanswered questions. No investigation. Case closed. Let's move on. David Hedgepath. Who is he, you might wonder? He had a Twitter account called Crucial Almighty. He posts a confession to this murder. Something to the effect of, "We coming at that Jeep." Can't remember the quote. You're going to hear about it. And essentially it was a confession to involvement in the murders. It took them a year and a half to go and talk to him. They knew about it a year and a half earlier. It took them a year and a half to go and talk to him. Why do you do that unless you've already concluded that you know who committed the crime, you've already determined who your defendant will be? And when they go to this young man and ask him, well, actually before, this is a year and a half before, they said, "Oh, we've determined that he was just trying to start an internet beef to advance his career." Who told him that? Without talking to a soul. So it took them a year and a half to go down there and track him down. And when they do go and track him down, they say, "Hey, did you commit the murder?" "No." "Were you in the area?" "No." "Where were you?" "Well, I could have been at work." "At work where?" "Any one of 3 places." "Okay, could you give me your work schedule?" As though that would prove anything. He says, "Well, I can get it now." "Oh, no, don't worry about it. Just email it to me." Really? And he doesn't even do that. There is no report that he even follows up and sends them an email of this mysterious work schedule proving that he wasn't at the location. They conclude, "Oh, he's not there. Wasn't him. Case closed." Is that how we do this now? That's not all. There are several other people who are potential suspects who were not tracked down. You are going to hear about them during the course of this trial. But beyond that, 3 years after arresting this young man and sticking him in a cell, the state looks at its case and says, "Oh man, this looks a little incompetent. Miramar police seems to have botched this investigation," and they call the Broward Sheriff's Office and ask them to come and look at the investigation upon which this entire prosecution rests. And he looks at it and he says he instantly knew he had to start from scratch. I think his words were, "It was the worst thing I had seen in my life." This is the Broward Sheriff's Office evaluating the work product of the Miramar Police Department. And we have problems with the Broward Sheriff's Office redo as well, but you're going to hear about that during the course of this trial. Ladies and gentlemen, the murder of anybody and the murder of these two young men was a tragedy. You're not here to solve a crime. That's their job, and they have watched it. Jurors often get confused as to their mission. You can't do a job unless you know what that job is. Every civil society needs to have a prosecutorial arm prosecuting crimes and offenses. That's a noble pursuit. There's nothing wrong with that. And every country does it. In some countries, the prosecutor decides who the person is, they send a cop to go arrest him, they throw him in jail, that's the end of it. We don't do that in this country. What we do is we ask, are you sure about what you're talking about? That's the purpose of this proceeding. You're not here to judge Mr. Demons. You're here to judge the sufficiency of the state's case. That is your assignment. You're not here for a show to see who you like more. There are two grades, beyond a reasonable doubt and not guilty. A+, and everything else is an F. There's no A's, there's no A minuses. You are akin to an FDA lab. Imagine a company saying, we're going to put on the market fat-free milk. And the lab, their mission is to determine whether or not there is fat in the milk. And what do they look for? They don't look for milk. They look for fat. The state is telling you they have a state that is free of reasonable doubt. You're not here looking for proof. You're here looking for doubt. And if you're off looking for the wrong thing, you're going to miss what you are here to look for. They have no motive. Their entire case is hinged upon the technology of a phone they claim to have been in Mr. DeMons' possession. What they fail to tell you is that they have come across evidence that Mr. DeMons got out of that car before this incident. They ignore that because it's not consistent with their theory. What they fail to tell you is that phone comes back to the name of somebody other than Jamal DeMons. What they forgot to tell you is that their own witness will tell you that yes, that phone and Mr. Williams' phone and a number of other phones were all on the same account, and all of the people in the house used to use them interchangeably. But they're assigning it to him because that is consistent with their theory. They don't follow leads. They have no motive. Investigation was botched. The investigation, as a matter of fact, is still going on as we speak, up to a couple months ago. Yet they're here telling you they have proof beyond a reasonable doubt and what you're still investigating for. The job of the state is to prove it beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. And if you're a reasonable person and you have doubt, that's reasonable doubt. There's a song called Things That Make You Go, If you say, that's reasonable doubt.
Now, you're about to hear the interrogation of YNW Melly. Not only that, you're going to hear him say he really want a lawyer present when the authorities ask him, hey, fair question, would you tell me if you knew who took the life of your best friends, who was responsible, or you wouldn't? He asked for his attorney.
Hey, my name is Detective Bertrand. This is Detective Mark Moretti. We're here to talk to you about what happened. Listen, you need to be straight up with us and tell us where this happened. Okay? My understanding, you told these officers something, but the evidence doesn't show that it happened there. So what happened? Okay, tell me what happened.
When I was playing music, getting off the 8, I was already getting sleepy. Almost on it, you know what I'm saying? And I just out of nowhere, like, gunshot, you know what I'm saying? So I ducked down, you know what I'm saying? And he called April, and I almost cut.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
From Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale Studio. Which way did you take?
I took Austin 595 to
75. Then you took 75 south?
That's what, if you come from Fort Lauderdale, you take 595.
Yeah.
So you get off, and you get on the expressway, right? So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then we got off in Miramar exit. And then when I got past the little 3-turn signal,
Yeah.
when I got past that,
Which turn signal were you in? Which turn lane were you in?
I was getting off the exit. When I got off the exit, after that light, when you made the right,
Yep.
I came down. You know what I'm saying? I was coming down to the light. You know what I'm saying? And as I'm passing the light, you know what I'm saying?
What lane were you in?
I was in the left lane. I was in the left lane.
The left, you're on the far left side?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you were already turning on the Miramar Parkway, or you were starting to
I was already off the exit.
Yes.
Off the exit. Already off of the exit. You know what I'm saying? I made it right.
Okay.
Three turn rights, right?
Yes.
Okay, I went through that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Went through that.
When you going west or east?
I was going, west is this way, right?
No. Okay. What actually where are you going?
I was going to a house.
Where's your house at?
The house is over in Silver, right by Silver Lake.
Okay.
1805 21 Southwest 4th Street. Over, I can't really
What is it?
It's 1805.
1805?
Yeah, 1805 21 Southwest 44th Street.
What?
44th Street.
Okay, so you were going west. Okay, because you're saying that you made a right.
Like getting off the expressway, you make a right to go west. You know what I'm saying? Go west. If you're coming south on 75, you take the west.
Okay, yeah, you make a right.
There's 3 turn rights that go right.
Okay, so you made a right. Can you get to Dice?
I'm not down, so I don't know.
Okay, once you make the right off of 75, the exit, there's another light there. There's that's where the shopping center is. On the right hand side, there's a shopping center.
Yeah, you talking about like Chick-fil-A and stuff like that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I got like around that area, and I started getting when I heard it, I was like, know what I'm saying? I felt, I almost crashed the car. You know, so I hit the little convenience a little bit. But, you know what I'm saying? I almost crashed the car, and I stayed up a little bit. I couldn't really see anything. I couldn't really see anything because I'm like trying to avoid from getting shot. Like, I'm blessed to be here right now. Like, I'm like, I don't know, like.
Yeah. And you didn't hear anything, they didn't yell anything was said?
Man, I was like, the car was still rolling forward, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying not even, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to stay safe, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to even get hit. I'm scared, you know what I'm saying, for my life out there. And the car was rolling. I don't know what car, which way it went, you know what I'm saying? Nothing.
Do you have the description of the car?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't see anything. Like, I was.
Here's the hard part, what we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walking out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Well, I'm telling you, bro, that's like.
I mean, for whatever reason, your two friends died. Are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These
are two, I'm assuming close friends.
Yeah,
and you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, man. I don't like. What do you want?
How do you make shell cases disappear?
I don't know. I cannot tell you about a shell case, and I'm driving. Ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about this shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be worried about it. You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here. When you guys open the doors and stuff like that, okay, there's going to be a broken glass over there when the windows got shot out. There's going to be casings from the people shooting at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now, there's nothing. Okay, now, I kind of think I know what happened. Because I got information that something else happened on the east side of the city in Pembroke Parks, but which sounds similar to your thing. But you need to be straight up with us, okay? Listen, I know you may be maybe you're scared, but like Mark said. You're doing your friends a disservice. We can't do our job.
I'm not doing no disservice. I'm telling you the straight up honest truth. Like I can't. What can I like tell you if I'm ducking for my life? My head's over here, steering wheel's here. I'm trying to make sure I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But like I'm keeping the car straight by hitting medium. You know what I'm saying? That shit fucked me up, bro.
Let me ask you this.
I look up and see them like how they looking. What you think I'm like looking for a car? No, hell no. I'm trying to.
Alright, well, let's just forget about where it happened. Let's just put that on the back burner for a little while. Let's talk about why. Are you having issues with anyone?
I mean, we are upcoming artists and stuff, so technically, like we have been having like, you know what I'm saying, like people like, when you like start doing better than people, they start hating and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
So you had some jealousy issues.
Yes, like jealousy issues, but but also like it's crazy because people they don't try us. You know what I'm saying? They talk like on social media, you know what I'm saying? But they see us and, you know what I'm saying,
it's easier for them to talk shit on social media than it is to your face.
You know what I'm saying?
So who's been talking shit on social media?
I haven't really been on that, but like my friend that's passed away now, I'm just so he was telling me like, right, he always telling me how people, just like today, he was telling me some folks from up our way. But he
What's up your way?
like Vero Beach, like that's where I used to stay. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up there. So that's our hometown. You know what I'm
So
saying?
what did your friend say about from Vero Beach? What was he saying to you?
He was saying it's basically just like they don't own like Instagram, just through Facebook, like saying this like folks like that's like don't even really like I know. Like they were just hating basically.
First of all, if you're up and coming, you know, in the music business, you're gonna be all over social media. That's how you make your mark.
Yeah.
So I know you know more about what's going on social media. You may not know where this happened.
I'm not big. I don't be there. I don't even have a phone, so I'm not like on it. Like I'm just working, making music. You know what I'm saying? Making music and stuff. That's what I've been doing. I don't really be into that stuff. Try to feed into it because like.
What's the name of the room and stuff?
YNW.
What is it?
YNW.
YNW?
Yeah, but like. I already have a lot of other stuff going on in my life. Like what? Like I be having like that my mom stuff back down south. I mean up top north from Vero Beach because she has to stay with a friend right now, and my other sister stay with her. My other sister trying to grow up fast and stuff like that.
So you support them?
Yeah, I support her.
How you support them?
If we make music stuff, my own boy side, he kind of like contributes. You know, yeah, my mom like it more.
With Anthony Williams, what's his nickname? Yeah, what do you call him? I'm sure you don't call him Anthony. What do you call him? Sack? How you spell that?
S-A-K.
S-A-K. And that's how he's known on social media as Sack? What about Chris Thomas?
Juvie.
What?
Juvie.
June?
Juvie.
Julie?
No. Juvie. Juvie.
Juvy?
And what do you know as?
I'm just known as my name.
My man?
My name. They call me my name.
My name?
My name.
By your name?
Yeah.
Of course, okay. Let me show you this real quick, okay? I'm not a great artist, but this is the exit to I-75, okay? You said you made it right here. These are the lights. This is the exit. This is Miramar Parkway. This is Chick-fil-A.
That's
This
like
is
the
gas
curb. That's like the curb. Part of the curb.
Yeah.
And
That goes like that, yeah.
It was like on down. You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
It was on down.
So did you pass Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I passed.
Did you pass this light here?
Yes, that's what I was telling you. I passed.
Oh, so you passed that light?
Yeah, I got on down. That's what I was telling you. I got on
Did
down.
you hear the Chili's?
Where's Chili? Like Polo Truck Crown.
Polo Truck comes on the other side of 75.
No, they have one. They have a new one close to 172.
Hey, do me a favor.
Yeah, they have one.
Go to Google Maps. I can't do it on my phone.
Awesome.
Yeah, all right.
It's close to 172.
You know where the Target is at?
That's where the Toyota shop is. Yeah, that's where the Toyota.
Where the new Pollo Tropical is being built?
That's the
Okay, the new one that's being built on Miramar Parkway? Did you get to that place?
Yeah, I got like around the area.
Is that where the shooting happened?
Close to 172.
So you know where Target is at?
Yeah, I know.
The Target?
About Polo Truck, I know. I'm just.
Okay, so is that where you were at? Where the shooting happened?
I was just telling y'all that's why I got off the exit and stuff. I got off of.
Okay, so you got off the exit. At this point, Was there a car following you that you noticed prior to? Did you guys have a beef with anybody on the highway? Like a road rage type thing or anything?
It was like,
Okay, so now you get off, you pass Dykes. The shooting hasn't happened yet. Or did it happen yet?
You passed Chick-fil-A.
yes, I passed it.
Did the shooting happen?
I got on past, like,
So it at the time that you passed Chick-fil-A, did the shooting already happen or no?
no.
Okay,
He said at the time I passed it,
yeah.
like a little after, you know what I'm saying? Just a little after.
Okay, so you passed the light over here, the second light. After you passed the exit, there's a light there. You turn right, then there's an intersection there. So you were past the intersection, the shooting hadn't happened yet. Is that what you're saying?
And then I got right on past the light. Follow me? Right on past the light, sir. And no bullshit, bro. No bullshit. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? And I swerved a little bit, hit the median, but like the car's still rolling, and like I'm still ducking. I'm trying not to be seen. You know what I'm saying? In the car.
Did you hit anything else other than the median? Because you got damage to the hood of your car. The damage to the hood of the car was already there?
Yeah, on the trip. Yeah, on the trip. Georgia. Somebody had been hit around. It's crazy, bro. Yeah, moving before all night.
You know, after you pass, there's Chili's, then there's a park, Miramar Regional Park.
I think Chili's like dumb, right?
Huh?
It's like you can't really see Chili's, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit hidden, you know, because there's like a little berm that kind of, there's a little shopping strip there, there's a whole bunch of little restaurants, and then there's the regional park. Then after the regional park is where the Target is at, and the new Pollo. We're just trying to figure out, you know, for you to give us a little bit better pinpoint where you think it happened. Was it before the park or after the park? The regional park?
It was like right,
Hey, how about if we get in the car and you show us? You want to do that?
I can't, bro. Yeah, we can. But like, after that, like, I'm like, this shit, like, it's like bringing my anxiety and shit. Like, I can't, they're really dead right now. I just seen these men in the car, dead, bro.
You don't have a cell phone?
No, sir.
Do you know where they live? Your friends?
They stay with them.
They stay with who?
They stay at the same place.
They stay at this house? Okay. How old are they?
One's 21, one's 20.
Who's 21?
Anthony.
Anthony is 21?
Yeah,
And Chris is 20?
I think so. I don't know if you say it, but I know Anthony's 21, so.
You can't give me any names that you guys were beefing with your other friends on social media? Anything recently came up? I'm sure they're gonna talk to you about it.
We trying to Not really, because like, not really.
What do you use for social media? What sites?
What I use?
Yeah.
I just be on like Instagram. Really, that's the only thing I be on. They be on everything else. They be on everything.
What's your Instagram name?
YNW. And
YNWM?
huh? YNW band.
Band? B-A-N-D?
Yeah. When I ask me.
Just to help us figure out what's,
Like the beat stuff.
yeah.
I'm not really seeing it on my page. Like my page is like,
Yeah, but then we'll get your friend's page, we'll get your friends.
oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I understand that.
What about Anthony's? YNW,
S-A-K, Jason,
Sack Chaser.
all together. And then what about Juvie? What's YNW stand for?
Young nigga world.
Yeah, okay. Chris and Anthony, are they both from Vero Beach too? Where are they from?
Anthony's from Atlanta.
Yeah.
With Atlanta.
Okay. You don't have the parents, like Chris's mom's name or Anthony's mom's name or that?
Anthony's mom's name is Jana.
Jana.
Yeah.
Jada? J-A-D-A or Thomas? Right, Anthony. Oh, Jana is Anthony's? What about Chris's?
Do they live here or in Vero? The mom.
Who lives with you at 18521 Southwest 44th Street?
Them two. Janelle. His brother.
Janelle brother?
My cousin, Jacoby, agent.
What's Jamel's last name? What is it?
D-E-M-O.
And they haven't had enough calls with me lately?
Who?
Your roommates.
I'm done what I'm saying, like everybody, then people been saying like stuff is squashed and stuff like that. And
They said stuff was squashed?
people have said stuff is squashed.
Who was it squashed with?
Oh, people that don't even, like, I know they.
Which would just, enlighten us. Fill us in, helps us know a little better. Who were you beefing with that it got squashed? Who was that? What's the old homeboy's name?
Like, his name is Bentley.
What is it?
Bentley.
Bentley? That's his real name, that's just who we call him.
That's his real name.
And where's he from?
He's from Grand Beach.
Have you seen him down here recently?
So, like, honestly, sir, we did get jumped in Walmart
When?
a couple months back, sir. But I don't know who kicked guys or
Which Walmart?
the Lord right here in Emerald Pine.
The Walmart close to
Yeah,
your
that
house?
was like, yeah.
Is that the one in Emerald Pines?
Yeah.
Did you guys report it?
Nah.
Who jumped you? Was he inside the Walmart or out the front of us? Who was it?
Some, I don't know, it was shit, I don't know the names.
You're talking about the Walmart on 184th and Pine Boulevard?
They said they called the police. And we,
Did you remember talking to the police that day or no?
no, we didn't talk to the police. We just left.
You just left. What was the beef was inside the store?
And then we fought inside.
When you say fought, just fist or anything else? Any weapons shown in there?
And it was fixed.
Was it safe to say you beat them?
We weren't really lucky. We weren't really lucky. We got 2 dicks and like they stole, like my homeboy's chain popped and they picked it up and they started like flexing on me on Instagram.
So after the fight, they
So this was on Instagram?
Yeah, they posted it on Instagram. I think they deleted it because
who's that?
I think the people that took it,
Mm-hmm.
I think they deleted the video, deleted their Instagram, all that, like, it's crazy.
Remember the names? What was the
Nah, that's
names?
what I'm saying, I ain't know who they was. Period. I'm not from God, they was from God.
But you know it was, but you knew it was on social media posting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I seen the post, but like, of course, anybody can go on Instagram, and you know what I'm saying, simply just go on Pembroke Pines, and beautiful lips gonna pop up, you know what I'm saying? Or, it's like my homeboy, he's like big, you know what I'm saying, he's big, you know what I'm saying? Who's your homeboy? He's recording out, his name is Juvie.
Does that live with Jamel?
Yeah.
He's known?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't know, like, we didn't know him. Like, it just came up out of nowhere, so, like, what I'm saying is, we didn't, like, know what it was, like, it was like, I know it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, almost like, you know how you just go to the store or something, and alright, say you go in the store, and you just feel like something happened. You know what I'm saying? And like your instinct tell you, and like you just, you know what I'm saying? That's what happened. Like we just call them when they bent the corner, and it just happened like that. Like, and they ran out the store when they got it.
You have any affiliation with any of the gangs?
No, sir.
Nothing at all?
No, sir.
How about your friends?
No, none of us affiliated with them. We just record us.
Let me ask you,
Y'all
did you, huh?
Y'all
That's the keys to your car?
yeah.
Yeah, just put them over here. Have you fired a gun today? You know they're gonna be able to tell, right? Okay. I'm asking you. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just asking you because if somebody was shooting at you, you know, and you shot back, that's self-defense. So there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Essentially, the law allows you to do that. But I just want you to be straight up with me, okay? Because if we test your hands and stuff, it's going to tell us if you shot a gun today.
I was shooting a gun there. I was shooting a gun today. I was driving. Shooting a gun.
Are there going to be any guns in the car? Were you guys just smoking out when you guys were in the car driving?
No, they no, he was like, when I got on close to the exit though, they was like, damn, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because the car reeks, you know, weed, so. Okay, I just want to know, you know.
I'm saying straight, like, I'm saying, cause I don't have nothing live, like, you know?
Right.
So, like,
You guys doing any dope deal gone bad and that's why this happened?
no.
And you guys work. Now, how do you guys support yourself?
Coach, my homeboy is assigned to court on my car.
Jamel?
Yeah. And that's how you're paying for the rent for the house and utilities and everything?
Yes, sir.
Who's he signed with?
He signed up 300.
Hold up.
With 300?
I'm assuming that's a rental car?
Yeah.
Who's the car manager?
Well, our manager.
What's that?
Our manager.
Which one's your manager? What's his name?
I don't know what you like. It's like Frankie's something.
Your manager? You know?
I'm calling my nickname. I need to know his girl name. And I just met him like this year. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna like just know his name. But his name's Trap.
Is what?
It's Trap.
Trek?
Yeah.
T-R-E-K?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you can provide us that's going to help us for your friend's sake? This is the point. That anything you're involved in, anything illegal you tell us is fine. It's a wash at this point. But we need to know the full story for Anthony and Chris's sake.
Yeah, we don't care, man, as far as that. All we care about is your friends, who shot your friends. Right? We're homicide detectives, so I don't care if you were doing a drug deal. I don't care if you had a beef with somebody. I'm just telling you. You know, I don't care any of that shit.
I'm tell you, no.
All I care about is solving your friend's homicide.
No, it wasn't nothing like that, bro. I told y'all the story, and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it no more. Like, bro, I told y'all. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. And we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this. Okay, if we don't get any information, it's let me throw this out to you. Okay, and just be straight up, man. Just be this is an honest answer, and I would respect you. Okay, by just telling me the truth. even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay, you may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't really be a part of it. I wouldn't really be.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that.
I don't like it. It's a lot of color and stuff. I'd be killed.
Because you rather just handle it within you guys? Okay.
I don't know how to feel right now. Like, I'm so fucked up right now. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry for my language, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit make me emotional, bro. Like, I ain't been asleep since yesterday, bro. You know what I'm saying? This shit just really just fucked me up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Then y'all gotta take my shoes, and I just got them bitches back from somebody that goddamn took them from me. You know what I'm saying?
Took your shoes?
Yeah, and I had to get them back, and I had to clean them up. They
Who took your shoes?
my homeboy had them took them, and I had to go get them, and he had them fuck them up, man. I just cleaned them yesterday.
He stole from you?
He like some kind of like switched them out, like in his shoes, when I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying?
He lives with you or is it?
Nah, he just came down there just to, you know what I'm saying, just to, because he makes music too. So he came down there just to get for you know what I'm saying?
Hey, your house or at the recording studio? Hey, where's the recording studio at?
I don't know the exact like location, you know what I'm saying, because it was my first time being there. You know what I'm saying? They brought me there. So like,
Give me some landmarks.
I know it was in the Dale, like that's probably like
In the where?
in 4 or 5 there. That's like
You know what exit off for 95? Do you get off 95? Is it on East?
yeah, it's off of 95. I think it's like, is that Oakland or something like that?
Oakland Park?
Yeah, I think something like that. I had it on music on.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to help, you know, we're friends.
I know
What happened?
I know.
So, you know, I mean, with my friends,
It's just like I can't like you know like you if you was there and you was
So I understand, you know, getting shot at, I'm sure it's not a fun thing. I've been shot at too, so I definitely know, but I definitely would want, you know, to find out or help the police as much as possible, you know, because listen, the bottom line is, man, you know, I know you're mad and you want revenge and all that kind of stuff, but the reality is, what's it going to bring to you? A momentary satisfaction? I'm just saying, what would that bring to you? A little bit of satisfaction, but then you get caught and then you end up, you know, in jail. Maybe you killed them, they're suffering or whatever is done and over, they don't get justice through the law, but then you end up in jail. You know, so who won? You know, is the truth, you know? They win, because, you know, because now instead of killing 2 people, they essentially kill a third, because once you go to jail for life for killing somebody, then your life is essentially over too. So, you know, you gave them the satisfaction of taking out the entire car.
I'm not thinking, you know, retaliation. Man. I'm only trying to make sure my mom and my sister, and that's what I'm always about right now. That's I heard this. I heard you fit. You know what I'm saying? I heard you fit. The dudes, two people you grew up with. You know what I'm saying? That shit hurt. How long have you known? Yeah. Anthony and Chris, like how many years? Yeah, like 5 years. How did you guys meet? Was it school or was it school? Or just do music business?
With Your Honor's permission, may I publish the last short clip?
It's in evidence, correct?
Yes.
You may.
When you came down, so you didn't get off on 75. I mean, you got off on 75 when you came down. You didn't get off. You didn't come from like 95 and get off on Hollandale.
I came from, like, look, I came from, okay, Fort Lauderdale, you drive 95 first, you get right on the Sawgrass Expressway.
Right.
You got 595, and then it's like Florida, it says the Florida International, you know what I'm saying? And then I got on the expressway. I got on the expressway take you all the way to Miramar, you know what I'm saying? So I got on the
Okay, so you took 95 south, then you went, you're saying 595?
595
to 75?
yeah.
And then south on 75 and got off on the Miramar exit off the 75. Okay. Which is where the Bow Campers is and all that. Yeah, okay.
You said Bow Campers?
Bow Campers restaurant, Bow Campers.
I think that's lit up. It's lit up?
Yeah.
It's like a little
Big restaurant, yeah, lake around it.
Okay, I ain't know what it's called.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll draw some stuff here real quick, and as soon as we're done, we'll take you home and drive off. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Counsel. Does that conclude the publication?
It does, Your Honor.
Thank you. Gary, can you collect the transcripts from the ladies and gentlemen jury, please? Ladies and gentlemen, pass the transcripts.
Now, that's pretty much what went on for the first 2 days. I make sure I keep you guys updated. But this basically the meats and potatoes of the 4-course meal. Let me know how you guys feel about this one, family. You guys think based on the information that the state presented, is YNW Melly innocent or is he guilty? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.